The day after the draft, Believe in Commanders podcast. Scott Jackson and Anthony Armstrong, part of the Believe Network. We are brought to you by FanDuel. I should say day after round one because there's still plenty of draft to go with 6 more rounds. But what a night it was, Anthony. I mean, we did all this work. Imagine how these teams feel. They do all this work too, right? Getting ready for this thing, and then it goes completely off the rails. Honestly, after you could say maybe the Cardinals. But it seemed like the teams knew. It seemed like Adam Peters, at least what he was saying afterwards, all that was expected. They just didn't know what to expect it for. And then, man, the draft really started rolling a different direction with the Tennessee Titans.
Man, good to see you, Sky. Yes, an exciting round one. I was watching and listening on the phone as I was headed to this event that I went to, and I was like, wait a second. I'm like, oh, Carnell Tate, wait a second.
Yeah.
Arvo Reese is in there. I was like, oh my gosh, who are the Giants going to take? Are they going to take Sonny Styles? And they went Arvell Reese, obviously. I mean, rightfully so. It was a good selection. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is working out really well for Washington. And it worked out better than expected. I know I had Caleb Downs. That's who my selection was, but that's because we thought Sonny Styles was going to be gone. We thought he was going to be up there at the 5th selection, maybe even the 6th selection, somewhere else. And it worked out. Everything came to fruition. And we said, what is the best case scenario is that they get their guy, that everything kind of falls into place. And it did. It's sunny days in the DMV, sunny days in Ashburn. Everything is sunny side up. I'm going to run out of sun puns. You feel me? As many as I can get, Scott, we got to run them out there.
I feel you. Well, listen, in a year which we lost the great legendary Sonny Jurgensen, we get another Sonny in the organization. So the name Sonny has been good for this organization. So I'm going to look at it that way as well. But, look, this is the guy. Dan Quinn wasn't trying to hide it. Adam Peters wasn't really trying to hide it when they did these interviews. They really like this player a lot as a person, and obviously the talent too. The combine was great. It backed up what they saw on the field. So, and Adam Peters, I was watching him last night. He's like, look, we didn't think he'd be there, frankly. We didn't think there's much of a shot at it. And then when it broke that way, he said he knew once the Browns and the Chiefs made the trade, he knew what Kansas City obviously was going to take Mansour Delane. So he knew they were going to get their guy. And obviously they didn't waste much time. I don't even know if any time went off the clock, frankly. I mean, the picks got so backed up last night. By the way, that draft could have been over in 2.5 hours if there wasn't a television network involved, because it was going at a good pace. But I think TV was holding it back, because if you paid attention to Twitter, there was a lot of tipping of picks going on just because people are sick of waiting, for the next one to go. But, yeah, what a great night. I mean, you think about where this defense was, Anthony, at the end of the year, and we're like, man, they're just not fast enough. They're not young enough. They're not this. They're not that. And just from March, right, with free agency to where we are with just one round done. We're not done, but it's incredible the athleticism that's been added on this defense. And guys who can play football, too. It's not just a bunch of track athletes. I mean, I think guys that can play football. So, it's exciting to really to wait. And I can't wait to see him on the field when it matters to see this group.
Man, the range that he can cover, the amount of field that he can get to, him being able to rush and hit edges and gaps, and the games that are going to be played now. Now you got to think you're working with all levels of player, right? The second level is going to be involved. Frankie Louvu still flying around. This is an impactful player, and then I said it last show, get somebody that's going to take 7 points off the board. And I had a great discussion with a fan on Twitter. He was like, well, yeah, but you got to help your quarterback. And I'm like, look, you can help your quarterback by giving him the ball back one extra time. You know what I mean? Give him another possession, right? This guy, Sonny Styles, is going to be special. And like I said, I was big on Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles was like, shoot, athletic freak, and he's super young, and he used to play safety, so he's got that mentality. And I mentioned, and I was saying, hey, he's not much of a thumper, but he played safety. He's coming downhill, playing fast. He's going to be good. And what I found really interesting is, as you were listening to the presentation, and they were talking about the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and they had Lynn Swann, and then they had who they had on the other side. Who is Lynn Swann and one other guy? Jerome Bettis, yes, indeed.
Jerome Bettis was up there. Yep.
Yeah, and then they said, we welcome the other one, Bobby Wagner. And I was like, are you giving a little tip? Are you giving a little hat tip to this selection, Roger Goodell? And lo and behold, he was. But let me ask you this. Do you think, is Bobby going to be done or come back for like a little mentor role, or you think he's probably gone elsewhere?
It doesn't seem like there's any room for him now. I mean, I think this is just I didn't think he was coming back either way, but now, I think he's probably done. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You still got Jordan McGee as well, who you'd like, at the end of the year, people are excited to see him on the field. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but again, look, anything's possible until it's not, right? Until he either announces retirement or signs somewhere else, he's still out there. But it would be nice, right? I mean, that would be a hell of a tutor to have in the locker room for him if he wanted to do such a thing. But that'll be, I guess, a decision for later for him. I just thought it just broke perfectly when the Titans went veered. I was like, okay, here we go.
You know what? Something I just saw, I just hit my head. I was thinking about Leo Chenal, uber athletic linebacker.
Yeah.
I looked up his RAS score, RAS, 9.9. He got the same score as Sonny Styles. I mean, these are some fast linebackers. They're going to be all over the place. This is going to be an exciting defense.
And they're interchangeable, right? They can be interchangeable.
Yeah, I think so.
They can be interchangeable too in terms of rushing and dropping back. Both of them. Yeah, that's what's exciting about it too. And I think it's a neat area. I'm with you. I mean, I think you mentioned this before on our last episode. All this, hey, this got to be for the offense, got to be this for Jaden. Like, what's going to make Jaden Daniels and the entire team better? Because this is a team sport, people. I mean, I get it. Quarterback's the most important position, but you got to think holistically here. What's best for the team? What's best for the team is to have a really good defense and get the best players available. You don't do what the Titans did, quite frankly, and veer off your board just because it's going to help your quarterback. And I mean, they could have had Arvell Reese. They could have had Sonny Styles. They could have done a lot of different things. And I mean. I like Carnell Tate in this draft, but I did not. I mean, I thought 7 was kind of pushing it for him, but to see him go at 4 last night, I'm like, I don't know about that. But that's a Titans problem, not a Commander's problem. But look, you still got tonight. You're going to have obviously Saturday. You're going to be able to get some receiver help at that point potentially, and there's still free agents out there. So yeah, I'm not sweating that thing as much as some of our fans are at this point. But I just thought it broke perfectly. If they could have wrote a script, this is what they would have liked to have seen last night, which was the guy they really coveted, who can help this defense in a big way come through.
Man, having Sonny Styles is big. And I wonder how much of an impact he's going to have on the team. Over here on FanDuel, they have changed and added some new odds that you can get in on it already. NFL regular season wins. The Washington Commanders over under 7.5 wins, Scott. Do you think Sonny Styles, his addition, is going to add 3 wins to this team so they could maybe get the over? I think so. I would take the over in this.
I think even if they hadn't taken Sonny Styles, I'm thinking they're better than a 7.5 win team.
Yeah.
Just based on, can you be as unhealthy as you were last year? Can you be as unlucky as you were last year? They had a good free agent class. I mean, I was already excited about it, but yeah, I mean, sure. I would say, over at this point, but again, we got to see it all come together. I'm sure Durante Jones is excited to have this piece and to see what they can do on this defense. But as you mentioned, Chanel was already there. You had him, you got Owe, Chase on. I mean, they had added some pieces, on this defense already and in this front 7. And now you put this piece in there. I think it's exciting. I was listening to, I think when we had John Keim on here, we went through a lot of these things. And I think John had mentioned this. I don't know if he mentioned it with us or I saw it on one of his other podcasts, but, he talked to the folks at Ohio State. And they said, look, Sonny Styles can blitz. We would have blitzed him more, but that's what Arvell Reese was doing, right? Like we had Arvell Reese in that role more than him, but he was certainly more than capable of it. And if you look back, frankly, and I don't think this is a similar player, but just keep in mind, right? Like Micah Parsons did not have like big sack totals at Penn State, right? Like he did obviously when he became the Cowboys, guy who they were, sending after the quarterback. So just because he wasn't like a big sacker or a big blitzer in college, and talking about Sonny Styles doesn't mean he's not going to be one in the NFL or can't be one. I think he has the skill set for that, and everybody says he's a guy who can diagnose everything and is smart and gives a damn. And he's only 21. He's only 21. Can you believe that?
Man, they're getting so young. They're younger and younger, and they're like so much more. Their football IQ is a lot higher. You know what I mean? And I'm impressed by that. And then he has his brother Lorenzo Styles Jr. that's out there who, frankly, we still need some help at safety. So might want to go grab him. Then they can be roommates. So that'd be perfect. Too much style in DC. A lot of styles going on. Let me ask you this: who do you think outside of the Commanders? Who do you think had maybe the best selection or would have won the draft in your eyes outside of the Washington?
Would have won the draft outside of Washington. Well, I mean, obviously, the Giants did some interesting things, but I would say that Reese, would you have said going in rush end was a biggest need for New York? I don't think you would have said that, right? I mean, they're already pretty stacked there, it looked like. So that surprised me. They still haven't solved Dexter Lawrence, right? But I think they needed help on the O-line, so I don't hate that part of it. Look, I think the Cowboys getting Caleb Downs was really fortunate as far back as they were for him to fall to them, although safeties, a lot of people predicted would fall, and that's what happened. So I think Dallas had a good night. Their second pick, the edge rusher, I don't know what you saw prior to the draft, the kid from UCF. I saw him as a second-round pick. Most of the grades had him as a guy in the second round, not in the first round, so maybe that's a reach. But look, I'll say this about the Cowboys. We don't love them, but they have been very good, drafting over the years. Their problem is, of course, contracts have been the thing that killed them more than anything. And then, of course, just choking all the time. But, so they usually do pretty well in the draft. So I thought that was interesting. Although the Jets had a great night. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, right? But I thought the Jets had a great night. You get David Bailey, you get big end, and of course, Cooper. They came back in and grabbed Cooper. I thought the Jets had a really good night, actually.
Yeah, the Jets were able to. I was sitting there saying they got their young quarterback some help, but they don't got no quarterback yet. They need a guy. I mean, like at least one for the future, and so maybe they're just.
They got Geno. They got Geno some help. Yeah.
Yeah, they got Geno some help. So at least you get yourself Omar Cooper. That's a solid young wideout. That's going to be a great compliment to Garrett Wilson. Kenyon Sadiq is going to be somebody that, if used properly, can be one hell of a weapon, man. Just a mismatch by speed galore. Now let's see what he can do up there with the Jets. Breece Hall has to be happy, right? Because there's got to be a little bit less pressure on him. Shouldn't be as many loaded boxes. Is it going to result in some W's up there? Who knows? But David Bailey, I feel like they always have a lot of names. They just had Sauce Gardner. They had Quinnen Williams. They just had, C.J. Mosley. Yeah. They had all these really good players and couldn't put it all together, unfortunately. But that is what it is. I did like that Caleb Downs pick. I like the Jeremiah Love pick to Arizona. With the conversation I saw on TV, they were like, well, the contract values and this makes him I feel like at what point, and let me know, what's more important, winning or having the right contract mix? Because if the guy is damn good and you get paid to win games, winning is what's going to win, what's going to make sense. You'll deal with the contract down the line. The average NFL career isn't even the length of a first-round player's contract. You understand? It's less.
By the way, how much do you think the salary cap's going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be insanely
how much do you think the salary cap's going to go up in 3 or 4 years? Yeah, exactly. And they don't even have a quarterback on the hook yet for a big contract because they're still looking for that guy, and they're probably going to get him. Not going to get him this year anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a look. They did what everybody says you should do. They truly took the best player available on their board, and clearly Jeremiah Love was either 1 or 2 going into this draft, according to most people, right, that follow this stuff, and then they got him at 3. Whereas the Titans, I'm sorry, I don't think anybody had Carnell Tate as number 4 on their true board, but maybe they forced it because they felt like they had to do something for their quarterback, and I don't think that's the best move. So we'll see how that works out. Now, the big head scratcher of the night, and I don't know if you've seen some of the video and seen some of the stories out there, but the Los Angeles Rams going Ty Simpson. To say that it doesn't appear that the head coach was overly excited would probably be the biggest understatement of the year. Sean McVay looked like he was at a funeral on the podium, sitting next to, sitting next to Les Snead last night. I don't know if this was a above them move, kind of like the Commanders, the Redskins, when Dwayne Haskins was selected. I don't know if it was one of those things where the owner said we got to do this now, but it was weird, man. McVay, there's a story out. McVay never spoke to the kid during pre-draft lead up, which is weird. Wow. Never met with him, never talked to him. If that's a true story, if that's an accurate story, the New York Post, that's shocking. And he didn't look like a happy guy. Because for a team that looks like win now, right, Anthony, with Matt Stafford, taking a futurist, quarterback who, depending on who you talk to, is a couple years away from being a couple years away, maybe, seems really odd on the Rams' part. Unless Matt Stafford had called them last night and said, hey, my back hurts. I think I got 1 more year at the best. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously. Like, did you already what do you know? And I, what though, the thing when I saw that draft pick, I thought about reading about how that relationship had with Jared Goff, and then the pivot to Matt Stafford, and that was like something that really affected Sean. So this is interesting that this happened here, and I was like, I'm sure they had to have told Matt, but it's still probably something not easy to swallow. It was an odd selection, especially with the fact of the players that were available.
Right, they could have helped their team for the here and now.
Yeah, you could have gotten a receiver, you could have gotten a tackle, you could have done a whole bunch of things. Hell, Reuben Bain was there. You could have went and added some more defense. You know what I mean? Have you already added some DBs?
Right. So I mean, you could have really helped your D.
You could have done a lot. And they went and got a kid that's not going to play for a year at least, and maybe a couple of years. So I don't know. We'll see. F them picks. Maybe that's why they don't pick, because they do stuff like this. I don't know. That ain't what we got to deal with.
Well, I was. No, we don't. Hey, it's Believe in Commanders podcast, part of the Believe Network. We're brought to you by FanDuel. Please comment, like, and follow the show. So here's the other one, too, that was kind of like, I thought was like found money in your pocket last night. You just mentioned his name, but when the Buccaneers got up and Reuben Bain's on the board, I go, this makes way too much sense, right? Reuben Bain has fallen to Tampa. I mean, Todd Bowles must have jumped out of his seat when he saw that he was going to be available. He's so excited. But what a fit. I mean, he looks like a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, right? They've always had these nasty, get after the quarterback kind of guys over the years, back when Dungy and then those guys had it really rolling. And then when Gruden took over, I mean, he looks like one of those badass Buck defenders from back in the day. And, I think that's going to be a really good fit for them.
Him and them creamsicles, man. I would love to hear Warren Sapp give his scouting report on Reuben Bain, because they seem like similar guys.
He's fired up.
He's coming in with an edge on his chip on his shoulder. That's what Reuben Bain is coming in with. He's gonna be a menace in that NFC South. Yeah, that's the right one. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Way too early talk. Who do you think would be your defensive rookie of the year?
Whoa, defensive rookie of the year right now. Hopefully it's Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope so. I hope so. Hope it's not Caleb Downs, I'll tell you that much, because we'll never hear the end of that. But yeah, I think, again, he's going to be in a position to do a lot of good things. We saw what Bobby Wagner did here the last bunch of years, in terms of tackles. Obviously a different scheme, but I think it's going to be fascinating to watch it evolve and to see all the things they can do. But no pressure on him. But hopefully he's the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I thought Caleb Downs would definitely be up there in the mix, just because of how good he is. Sonny is going to have a lot of opportunities to make a lot of plays out there as well. Who else?
As long as it's not Arvell Reese.
Yeah,
no Arvell Reese, please.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I don't know. I don't want that to happen, but. That was a good draft. Day 2 right now. So right now, Commanders do not have a second round selection. They're sitting at 71. We were all trying to have them clamor and maybe get into the second round. Do you think they're going to do something like that, Scott, or do they stand pat at 71?
They're picking 70. Yeah, they're picking 71. Or move backwards and get picks. Because remember, they don't have a fourth rounder either. They have no fourth round pick. So maybe you move back to get a fourth rounder if you can, to help you. But yeah, no, they're not going to be able to move up. There's just not enough juice there to do it. But look, there's a lot of ways they could go. They could still go edge. They could go receiver, certainly. They could go center at some point here over this next day or two. Probably not tonight, but maybe tomorrow you go that route. But tonight I could see them going anywhere from corner to receiver to edge rusher would make a lot of sense. So I think they again, as we've said a million times leading up to this, they did enough work in free agency where they don't have to feel like you have to pick this position. In my eyes, I know a lot of people disagree with that. Like, oh my God, no, you need a receiver right now. There's still, by the way, veteran receivers out there that are actually in shape. I mean, Jawan Jennings is in shape. And there's some other options out there too, but I don't think you have to take a receiver at 71. You might, just because that's the way it lands, and there's nothing wrong with that if you do.
Yeah, generally those will be those really fast guys. I'm thinking about the young fella Brennan Thompson out of Mississippi State. He was the fastest player in the combine, 4.26. He plays receiver. Washington could use some speed, and he would be a good kick returner as well. So him, Scott's guy, Ted Hurst, is somebody else that maybe he'll be there in that spot. Probably.
Kid from Notre Dame, the big guy. I don't know if he'll be there. Makai Fields, big dude. He can get downfield. He's an interesting proposition there. Before we get too far down the road here, we have not touched on the Eagles. selection last night. Well, let's do that for a second. We'll get Mr. number 13, former NFL wide receiver Anthony Armstrong's take on Makai Lemon going to Philadelphia. Everybody's like, well, there you go. That solves it when you move on from A.J. Brown, so to speak. And it's a lot of pressure to throw on this young guy right away. But, he's great with the football in his hands. But do you think the Eagles have nailed it with him? And, of course, obviously they added Devontae Wicks this offseason and Hollywood Brown.
I think with Makai Lemon, it's that run after catch that makes him so special. And if you look at that offense, A.J. Brown runs a whole lot of slant routes. So they want a guy that's going to be able to break a tackle and take that thing to the house. And so he's going to fit that bill. He's going to fit in well for what Jahan Dotson was doing. And I think they had a few other guys over there. Kenneth Gainwell kind of operated in that slot a little bit up there for them. But Makai Lemon's a baller, and him dropping that far, I know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And the way he was looking at the combine, he looks like he means business. But we're gonna have to see him. Yep. We're gonna have to see him twice a year.
That's right.
He's gonna want to get out there and get the most of everybody that passed on him. So I like him as a player. I didn't see him as a major fit in Washington.
Neither did I, because they have too many slots already.
Yeah, too many slots. It didn't seem a big fit, but I think he's gonna do solid out there in Philly. But not too well, obviously.
Well, hopefully he's terrible. I mean, this is believing Commanders, okay? This isn't believing Eagles. We hopefully are terrible. But he's Howie Roseman's done a great job. I mean, them and Dallas trading though felt a little dirty last night. It was funny because we were at this draft party for a radio station, and both fan bases were looking at each other like, "Oh, gross! We're helping each other. What's going on here? This is disgusting." And the weird story about Makai Lemon, did you hear the story? He was on the phone with thinking Steelers. that he was going to the Steelers, and then the trade happens, and then, oh crap, I'm an Eagle. Like, well, at least it was the same state, right? I mean, I guess you got that going for you. But what a weird thing to happen.
Man, and then even they said Jeremiah Love, the Cardinals had the wrong phone number. Y'all got to get
oh my God.
Well, together, man.
That's like, put that in the Cardinals category. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't surprise us. But I don't know. By the way, how do you think Tyler Allgier felt last night? He's like, oh, great. Now I'm in Atlanta West, because it's the same thing, right? You got another Bijan Robinson situation where he's going to get all the, he's going to be on the field a lot, and you're like, kind of like, you're getting the scraps. Now, granted, he's getting the scraps at $8 million a year. I mean, you got to take it. So
that is
it's not all bad.
Here's what I would expect, though. I think LaFleur is going to maximize everything out of Jeremiah.
100%.
He's going to squeeze all the juice out of that orange, okay? And so I would not be surprised if you see a lot of two-back sets. And it doesn't mean like split backfield. It means Jeremiah's over there in the slot, Tyler Allgier's in the 100%. Backfield. Where's my focus? Let's look over here at this young fella, and then here comes this sledgehammer right down. He makes the box softer, and then it makes it a little bit easier for Tyler Allgier to get out to get active. And really, look at it though: Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Allgier in the backfield, Jeremiah Love as well. That's a pretty electric offense. Jacoby Brissett is at the helm. Last question about these two black quarterbacks that are journeymen of the league. Who's going to have a better season, Jacoby Brissett or Geno Smith?
Ooh, wow. That's a good one. I think Jacoby had a pretty good year last year. I mean, he had a pretty good year. I mean, I liked him in Washington. My God, he almost cost them Jaden Daniels when he'd come into those games late. I was like, man, get him off the field. What are you guys doing? They might win this game. Get Sam Hell back in there. What are you thinking? Remember that? They're like trying to hold this draft pick and they put Brissett. Rivera's going to Brissett. I'm like, are you insane? We're trying to hold on to this draft pick, dude. Like, get him off the field. Now, I like Brissett, man, and I know he was asking for more money or whatever, but he's got to be happy. This is a good opportunity for him because whoever if they take a quarterback tonight or over the next day, over the weekend, they're not starting right away. So Brissett's the guy, and then they got Gardner Minshew back there. But yeah, I think him, and just because it's nothing against Geno Smith, but it's more about I just don't trust the Jets, right? Yeah. I like Frank Reich. I mean, I think there's some good things here, but it's just the Jets, man. It's just like an aura of just it's like a black cloud over the organization at all times. It feels like so. I don't know. I would say Brissett if I had to pick one. What about you?
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. There's a lot of weapons in both cities. There's a lot of weapons in both cities. But the thing is, I mean, I don't think either team's going to the playoffs for what it is.
No.
y'all still going to be picking top 5 next year with that 2027 selection.
That's right. They're both probably going to be fighting for the top, for like one of the top 3 picks to get the quarterback, right? To get the March for Arch or whoever we're going to be marching for next year. Whatever's going on next year, whatever's going on next year. But well, all right. Final thing for you. All right. What do you want to see over these next 2 days? I mean, are you caught up in positions? Are you worried about that, or is it more about the players at this point?
Yeah. Man, I can tell you, this organization has their process down pat about getting the character right. They have a good bead on people's character. So I love that. Today, 71, I think I do want to see the receiver. There's going to be a lot that are there in that spot that I want to see them go ahead and add. If it's not that position, I wouldn't be surprised or mad if they added a safety. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's receiver. It seems to be in play around that range, and I do think Hurst is a third to let like that part of the third, maybe pushing close to the fourth where he might end up. I don't know if Fields will still be there from Notre Dame or not, or one of the other guys you mentioned earlier, but I think that would be a way to go. If not, this is a deep edge draft too, so don't sleep on the idea that an edge might still be hanging around that could help them too. And I'm not against that, because remember, after this season, only one of those guys is signed. I mean, always of the top 4 at least, right? Of the top 4, it's always the only one that's signed. So that's not crazy. I think center comes tomorrow, but I do think that we'll probably see that addressed at some point. I think either secondary spot's not crazy. You mentioned safety. I think corner or safety, either one of those is fine. And they have shown they have picked corners in every draft in this short period of time. We've seen this staff together too.
Yes, indeed. But hey, y'all stick around because we're going to cover all of it and give y'all updates as it rolls through. But hey, this has been a great episode. Sonny Styles, y'all. Sunny days up there in the DMV. For Scott Jackson, I'm Anthony Armstrong. This is Believe in Commanders, brought to you by FanDuel on the Believe Network. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Y'all be good. Peace out.